Atlas Tack of Fairhaven, Massachusetts, once boasted about the fact that it was the world's leading tack and small nail manufacturer. At one time, this huge facility employed over 350 workers, mostly from Fairhaven. In the late 1970s, the business began to slow down, and much of its equipment was gradually sold or abandoned. In 1984, all signs of activity came to a standstill. The Atlas Tack has closed its doors, its machines silent forever. The stairway to the main office in front of the building once was full of administrators, secretaries, and bookkeepers going back and forth daily, helping to run the world's leading tack manufacturer. These tall windows once brought in generous amounts of light for the office staff, but now most of the offices are empty, except for a few file cabinets and litter thrown about the sturdy oak floors. High-ranking officers of the Atlas Tack Corporation probably entertain their guests and potential clients in this once stately room, which had its own elegant fireplace. As we go downstairs and pass through the 900-foot main corridor, we can see that time is quickly taking its toll on these old sturdy beams, as they have rotted past the temporary 8x8 timbers to prevent this area from total collapse. The wooden floors have succumbed to plants and other moldy organisms that ironically add a touch of beauty. This section was the main area for manufacturing tacks and nails. Chemical corrosion has eaten away at the wooden walls that contain the pickling room, where eyelets and tacks were soaked with various chemicals in these tanks. Railroad cars once loaded and dropped off their cargoes at doors like these on the north side of the building. In the stockroom, much of the spare parts and supplies remain neatly in their shelves, as other materials are strewn about the floors. It is believed that in the early 1980s, many machines were crated up and sold to a company in Japan. However, in the machine shop, most of the equipment remains. Some machines virtually stopped in the middle of a project, and perhaps the few remaining employees were told to go home.
The day they opened that building in 1901, they moved 6 girls from the place on Fort Street, and my mother was one of the 6. And they said they had a ball in the shipping room, because that's before, and they said it was beautiful. Mr. Rogers had invited all the townspeople and his friends and everything. The purpose of that building, when Mr. Rogers built it, it was for the Fairhaven people. That's what he built it for. My husband and both my brothers worked there. My mother worked there before I was born. And a lot of our family in the past years have worked there. So I went in the Atlas Tack looking for a job, and they offered me a job in there for 22 cents an hour. And I went in there. I thought it was great because I didn't have to work Saturdays or Sundays and holidays. So I stayed in the Atlas, and I was there till I retired in '71. I was a clerk in the cutting department. I was in the office with a boss, and at one time he had 300 men under him. He had all the cutting departments. And I used to weigh the work and tag the work, type all the tickets for the work, and weigh the work. And want me to tell you about the bad part? The bad part is we lost our pension. We lost our medical and we lost our life insurance. When they locked up 3 years ago, we lost everything. And not only me, but everybody else that worked there. So it's just a sad thing. And so many loyal employees. They had top mechanics in there. And they had the best platers in the country. I'm not exaggerating. Mr. Earhart, he's gone now. And he used to do all the plating, chrome, silver, and used to come from everywhere in the country because Atlas did the best plating in the country. They had the best tack makers in there too, and everything. They had a lot of good mechanics in there, in the machine shop and everywhere. It was a crime that place went down, I'm telling you. During World War II, they employed about 700 people. Oh yeah, they had 3 shifts around the clock. They used to start at midnight Sunday and worked right up to on Saturday, you know. Yep. During the war, I worked 48 and 52 hours in there. It was a great place to work before Mr. Lewis and Mr. Secor took it over. It was a great place. It was like a big family. We had some wonderful times in there, clam bakes, Christmas parties, outings, fall dances and everything. We were like one big family. Anybody had any hard luck, we'd all chip in and help until these fellows took it over and everything went down the drain.